Hi guys, welcome back for another episode of HairTube. I'm Ruby and you might know Adam over here.
How cool is that? Ruby did the intro, that's the best. We might do that from now on. Welcome back guys, we're here today in Melbourne still. This is the fourth or fifth video in a sequence we're doing, and we're here today at the Joey Scandizzo Academy on Turek Road. We're very happy to be here. It's a beautiful space, and Ruby's going to let me cut her hair off today. Not all off, sorry to get your hopes up, but essentially she's given me free rein. The only obstacle I can see, and you guys can probably see too, is we've got a fringe growing out. I think the fringe would suit her face perfectly, but unfortunately, as we've spoken about in many past videos, I don't know whether her hairline is really, how would you say, your hairline's not really suited to having, I don't want to be rude, but it's not suited. So the face geometry is beautiful for a fringe, but it's you can see that it's given her a little bit of trouble because her cowlick's quite strong and it's been hard to style, so we've decided to grow that out. She has naturally wavy hair, so I'll be working with wavy texture again, and I think I'm going to do something to sort of elongate her neck a little bit. She's got a nice long neck, and I think we need to get some of this hair away, so I'm going to go somewhere in between the shoulders and the neck. And the rest we're just going to sort of go with it, whatever works. Maybe some shape around the front. The only thing that I'm sort of in two minds about is when someone says you can cut all my hair off and you think, wow, this would actually look really beautiful long, I'm sort of torn, but I think Ruby's here for a change, so I'm going to give her a change. I think it's important to offer our clients change, even sometimes they may come in for a trim, but you still need to discuss options and what they can do with their hair, because they may actually be looking for inspiration for change, and I think you might be in that category today. So I'm not going to be lazy and do a trim, we're going to do something different. So stay right there, we'll be back. How'd you know to do that? You've seen it before. Okay, so I've been standing here thinking about what I'm going to do, because sometimes it's hard. When you have clients like Ruby that can just have their hair done so many ways and they give you complete creative license, you actually like, okay, I'm going to do this, oh, what about that? But I've decided that I want to create change, so I want to have negative space between the shoulder and her hair, so I want to be able to see light coming through there, so we're going to go just above the shoulder. And I want it to be more modern, so rather than doing concave, we're going to do a club and quite square. And I'm going to layer it so that she can work with a natural movement, and she can also straighten it. And then we're going to just have one simple element here in the front. I want to create like quite a big tier, so we can actually have some hair coming over the top to help her grow out this side fringe and work it into like the length here. So I'm going to start on the baseline, so I'll spin around so you guys can see me section this up. For this particular haircut, I'm actually going to cut the baseline on the skin. So I'm not sure if I've done that before. I probably have, but would definitely not have been for a while. And for those of you who are watching, who watch often, you're probably going to notice I'm also cutting this wet, when a lot of the times I'll actually cut it dry. The reason why I've decided to do Ruby's hair wet is like whenever I'm cutting a lot of length off, I actually like to make sure, I actually just like to make the big adjustment in the length when the hair's wet, and then I will make any small changes when the hair's dry later on. So things you need to be mindful of when you're cutting on the neck is that it rounds off, and if you allow your scissor to follow it around like that, you'll actually cut holes in the side. You have to make sure that when you get to the edges, you're actually lifting out off the neck, otherwise you end up round, and that's not wrong, it's just that we're trying to create like a squared or a rectangle shape on the ends, and you can't make a rectangle with round sides, so you probably can, but it's not really a rectangle, right? It needs to be square. Good. Right, now we'll move on to the sides. Okay, so now it's time to bring the sides back in, and we did discuss at the beginning of the video that I wanted to club it. However, that doesn't mean that I'm going to go straight onto the sides and cut it off. I will still over direct all the hair in 1 centimetre sections all the way through, all the way into the back, to make sure that we get a beautiful strong baseline, which will mean it goes to longer at the front. Then once we've completed that, we'll turn Ruby's head to the side and we'll take the sides out then. I don't like to cut anything off until I know that I definitely don't need it. In the past, I found that, sometimes I might think, it looks really, I think it'll look really good and square next to her jaw. And then I've left it longer in the side, so it's like, it's still square, it's not concave, it still falls square, but it has like this sort of teardrop shape towards the front. And I just found that that looks good, and I've actually said to my client, you know what, I'm actually not going to cut the sides off because it looks really good. So that's why I never cut the hair until I'm 100% sure I don't need it there. And there's nothing to gain by cutting it off quicker anyway. So you still have to continue through this way, even if you were going to cut the sides off. Making sure we stay within the head shape. You don't want to be cutting it out here, you want to make sure you bring it back. Otherwise you'll cut the sides around You want to keep it square. I think I've mentioned in other videos the reason I like to hold the hair with my comb is the comb never changes. You're always going to get the same tension. Sometimes when we do it between our fingers, we can actually apply different tensions on each section, and that's when you're going to get inconsistencies. And you might not think it's a big deal, but 1 millimeter even makes a difference, because if it's 1 millimeter out, in 10 sections time it's a centimeter out, so it's really out of balance. So every single section has to be perfect, and the only way I can ensure that is by using something to hold the hair that never changes, and that's the comb, especially if you use the same end all the time. Just show you guys from this angle so you can see what it's like. I'm going to pull it over the ear, making sure that you pull it back into the baseline and comb it down. I often leave my finger there like that, rather than stretching it down here, as the hair travels further and it makes it longer. Chin down a bit, Ruby. Thank you. Is that side done? Be careful when you're pointing your scissors in towards your client's neck. You certainly don't want to make sure, you certainly want to make sure you don't hit them with the point. Might not be comfortable, hey Ruby?
Not at all.
Come for a haircut and you get stabbed in the neck. So when I'm done, I just like to actually ribbon the hair underneath, just to see if there's any long hairs on top. You can see there's just those few little ones there. Again, I'm combing it into the middle of the neck because I don't want to cut the corners off on the sides. Same on this side. So I'm just turning the hair under on top of my finger. It's perfect. I was going to do the sides, but I've decided that I'm actually going to address the fringe first. And the reason being is some of the hair that I may have cut into the sides, I'm actually going to need to incorporate in the fringe. So I think that getting the distribution here is going to be more important. So I'm just going to part that, section that rather there, and I'm working with Ruby's natural parting. So it's almost going to be an undercut because I'm not going to cut the hair that's already short underneath any shorter. Just dip your head for me, Ruby, a little bit so we can see that section there. Just a little bit. There you go. Yeah, so I adjusted the depth. I kept the width the same. You don't want to make it too wide because it'll end up out here. I've just gone to where the existing short piece of hair is, but I've made it a little bit deeper. Then I'm going to use just simple graduation technique. Just head up for me, gorgeous, thank you. I'm just going to over direct it. I think the The problem with Ruby's fringe was I don't think there was enough weight on the top. It was a bit light, so that's why I've incorporated more hair by going deeper. So hopefully a little bit of the weight will stop it from splitting open, and it will sit better. And then we're going to cut it graduated, diagonal back, so it comes across the face, and it should match up right here with this length. But I don't want to cut the underneath any shorter. In actual fact, as I said, I want it to be a bit longer. So just above 90 degrees. So that's actually layering, not graduation. I'm using the shortest piece here, you can see it falling out. And then I'll spin it around so you can see it before I comb it to the side, so you can see the shape that I created. I've spoken about it in my past videos many times. We must use projection to determine how we want the hair to follow. How we want the hair to form, and put the short hair where we want the long hair to follow, rather than cutting solid lines and texturizing. So you can see the shape that's there. You can see it goes from short to long. Then I'm going to comb it to the side, and hopefully that will sit much better. And it already does, because it's got some weight there. It's really nice. And then we'll cut the sides in about here. Probably will need some texture there though. Maybe we'll adjust that now. I'll spin it back this way. So I'm going to add texture. I'm actually going to come around this side. I'm going to add texture by using layering. We're going to project it back over here. So I'm going to put some short hair behind the long hair, which will help you sit to the side. I'll show you guys side on. So I'm projecting it back above the parting, just towards the back of the section, and creating some shorter hair. Add a little bit of texture there. And hopefully that'll be a little bit lighter when it falls. Yep. It's not so heavy there next to the eye now. And it'll definitely sit better. And that's the fringe done. Off camera, I just pulled Ruby's hair back off her face, and I'm just like, it's too long. It needs to be here. And it's not like, so if I cut it with my existing guideline, it would be to there. So that's what it would be, but I want to do it here. So it might not seem like much, but a centimetre can really change the whole way someone's face looks. So it's happened before in the salon, when I've got halfway through and I'm just like, you know what, I think it needs to be shorter, and it's just happened now. So rather than trying to, how would you say, sometimes we try and convince our clients that, oh, I think it looks better a bit longer, and to avoid redoing it. I'm not happy with it, so I'm cutting it again. And you have to start all over. You can't cut corners. And do it again, because it needs to look incredible. Same technique, holding the hair on the neck with the comb. It's much easier to do now because I don't have the long hair. That's why there's no need for sectioning clips, and you generally can then get through this much faster, because when you're cutting off more length, you can sometimes get in the way and gets caught. That's all you need to clip it up out of the way. starting to bring the top and the side sections back into the baseline now. Again, when I get to the sides, this is what tends to happen when we hold it with our fingers. That's why always when I get to the sides, I generally hold it with my comb, because the comb you can use like a ruler, you can make sure it's straight, and you're not going to cut those sides off or the corners off. Same on this side. And I like to again comb it into natural fall and just check it. Side's a bit longer. Tries to run away, but I've got it. When you have your client turned away from the mirror, sometimes their chin can move. You need to check to make sure they're in the same spot. Or in the right spot rather. Especially in a busy salon, something might walk past that grabs their attention maybe, Ruby.
Yeah.
But like I'm not walking past, so nothing's going to grab your attention. You meant to laugh, that's a dad joke.
Oh.
That's okay, you don't have to laugh. Sides are done. Last section on Ruby's left hand side. I'm going to spin around so you can see again how I do this. Comb this into the back section. You can see it sitting over the top. You can really see how I'm exaggerating that. It must all come back in. Sitting right on the top. Comb goes on the top. You need to place your finger here, almost like a, I don't know, it's like a, so it can't fall forward. Because you really need to cut it back in here, that's how you over direct it to retain the length. And then I'll let that one come forward. Just check here, looks like I missed a little bit. Yeah. Just there. I used my fingers then, but you probably just saw how over exaggerated I shifted it towards the middle, and then hold it with my comb. Last section, comb it all into the back, and I think we will have then achieved the perfect length for this face shape. Already setting the world on fire as the sirens go off, Ruby. Hey? You meant to laugh, they're dad jokes. Come on, man. Right, let's see if this length suits her better. I think you'll find it does. So find a natural parting again. See the bang coming forward. Man, look at the curl in that bang, look at that. Ha! So good. So now when we pull this back, and then when we club the sides off, we're going to take it to here. Big difference, see, just below the jaw, makes a huge difference. Alright, let's cut the sides. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to cut these sides in because this is the line that we want here, but this part's got to go, it looks like puppy ears. So you can see as soon as we cut that off there, it's going to be amazing. Because I still want it to be clubbed, but slightly leaning towards the front. So we're just going to comb this down here, very gently. I'm actually going to freehand cut the excess length off, and then I'll check it more accurately when it's dry. Spin it just a little bit. Yep. Just chin up for me. Perfect. There. And then behind, and it'll just be that little part, which is the corner from the back. Just be careful when you're stretching it above the ear, that you don't stretch it down over the ear like this and cut it, because you'll end up with a big hole. And that's nasty. Don't want to do that. How good is that? Let's do the other side. Adjustment here. The sides cutting looks brilliant. Now we need to add some shape through here, and over in the back. Too much, just a little bit. Alright, let's do some layering. Okay, so the ends are done, the fringe is done, but it's just a bit too, I don't want to overlay the hair, but we do need a little bit of shape. We want it to move. We can see we've got some natural movement in there. So if Ruby dries her hair naturally, we want it to sort of bring that movement out. So let's start on the side. Just so you guys, I know some of you have seen it before, leave the comb there, 2 fingers back from where the head rounds, which will be about here, that's where I would section the back of the hair in. It's different on everyone, so it's really important you identify that. Otherwise you end up with a weight line. If you layer the hair too far to the front, you'll end up with a weight line and you'll constantly be trying to get rid of it. And the only way that you can remove it is if you actually go back and layer the hair again and make sure that the hair that you're cutting into the back is actually growing into the back. It's not pulled from the back, from the front into the back. $180. Actually, we're not going to do 180 degrees because we want to retain length towards the front. It's going to be slightly back from 180. And I want to start by just taking 2 centimeters off, and I want to see where it falls. So it falls into the back, and I think that's enough movement. So you can see how much lift that's given in the root, and you can see the movement it's created in the back. So that's how I find the length that I want to use. Then we're going to go from creating that horizontal guideline into vertical layering or vertical sectioning, and I want to connect the underneath hair to the guideline. It's that simple. And then we're just going to work uniform all the way around. You'll see how much shape this hair gets just by taking that 1 centimeter corner out the whole way around. And then we're going to add some beautiful texture to release a little bit of the movement and remove the bulk. We don't want to overlay this hair because my theory is that we'll end up making it look quite classic, and we want it to look modern. Over directing to the back. Done. Now this side. You guys will see here again, we're just connecting. This is the guideline here, that's where I cut that section in to the hair underneath. And we're just taking that out. And again, we're working uniform, so it's parallel to our partings. Then when we get to the side, we over direct. Just look for a little corner that we create where 2 techniques meet, you get a point. So in other words, where one side meets the other side, you're going to get a point. So make sure we take that out. Beautiful. Spin the review around so you guys can see. You can see that's just released some of that movement out of the weight line. Sorry, out of the baseline. We've shifted that up. Now we're going to add some texture for here where it's quite bulky. A little bit of texture to enhance the layering. Just break it up a little bit. It's done look really nice. Looks good. Looks super hot. Love that. It's just a bit bulky in here, so we'll take some of this weight out. But I love the height and shape in there. I'm glad we made it that little bit short. It made a huge difference. Alright, let's do some texture. Have a look at how this is drying. just as I'm working the layering in. So now I'm gonna go through here and we're just gonna break this area up. I think this is really good already. Spin back around this way. So I might start in the middle at the back. Sorry to make you dizzy, Ruby.
It's alright.
Put your back facing that way. I'll come around the other side. We'll start this way, I think. Yep. Chin forward, call me gorgeous. Thank you. So I'm just going to work horizontally to make sure that, again, we don't ruin the shape of the haircut that we've just created. It's very important to remember that projection when texturizing is as important as when you're cutting. If we texturize at 0 degrees, there's a good chance we're going to make it choppy. If we texturize at 90 degrees or above, when the hair falls, it actually falls soft. And it'll be seamless as well. So you, in theory, shouldn't see any like texture lines or anything coming through there. Looks good. Well, it's sectioned and it's drying. We'll just check, make sure our baseline's accurate. A little bit here. Good. Got our next section. You can see I've just taken some of the hair away while I get to the hair that's underneath. Then I'm going to pick the hair straight up above it. Again, still at or above 90 degrees when doing this, and not cutting across the hair this way. I'm making sure that I'm coming straight in without disturbing the shape or the line in the haircut. Let's have a look. You can see now it's just, we haven't really removed that sort of strong club effect, but you can see you start to have that little bit of movement coming through the ends, which I think is going to help have a little bit more synergy with the movement created from the layering that we did on the top. Again, still projecting at or above 90 degrees. Still working horizontally. Sorry for leaning on you, Ruby. I wore Chanel blue for you today, just so you know. Head up for me. Let's have a look what it's doing in the back. It's nice. I'll just take one wide section through there, right on the occipital bone. And putting just a little bit of texture on the end, see if you make sure you guys can see that. I'm holding it on the skin and I'm just point cutting, because just on those very ends I want it to be soft as well. coming from underneath, placing a little bit of texture on the top. For those of you who experience cutting hair, you'll know why I'm doing this. Short hair directs long hair, and if we want to create movement, we need to create some short hair amongst the long hair to push it around a little bit. The reason why I've taken a veil, I guess you could call it, in the top section is so that none of this short hair is exposed. It's all underneath and it's all creating movement. And you'll actually see the movement of the hair starting to really pop now, because this particular technique is really good for creating or releasing movement in the hair. Obviously there has to be a little bit of natural movement to begin with. If the hair's straight, it will make the hair move around, but it will need assistance. So you either need to work product in it, or you'll need to scrunch dry it, do something to add movement into the hair. Otherwise it generally just gives it some texture. You can't create movement in hair that doesn't have any naturally, unless you use something artificially to enhance it. So just doing some texture underneath, and then we'll come back on top. Just through the side here near the temple, diagonal back section towards the face, above 90 degrees, and again, we're just creating some texture. If you slice, you can do that. Sometimes I find because the hair moves a little bit, it's hard to accurately do it this way, which is why I come from the top and I scoop away from the face. Allows me to create the separation without having the risk of cutting into that perimeter line that we've just created. Again, another diagonal back section behind the ear, projecting it towards the face. There's more hair here now, so it's easier to point cut into it. You can see that's creating movement as well. Texture for me is something I really struggle to teach people, because it's actually, I can explain the way I create texture, but it's actually a feeling. So it's something that's personal, I think, and with experience you actually develop an aesthetic that is appealing to you, and ultimately what's appealing to you is what attracts your clients. So I often say you get in business what you advertise for, so the type of haircuts that you do are the type of clients that you're going to attract. And I like to do less layering in hair and far more texture, because I just find that a lot of my clients want movement, shape, volume, all those things that layering gives, without the commitment of having to grow the layers out or seeing the layering. And that's exactly the sort of clients I'm starting to attract, so my theory is proven. Look at that. See that dropping down here? This sometimes happens because that was quite curly when I first cut the hair, and then when you release the weight, it actually collapses it somewhat, and that's how it falls straight up, and that's why you can see that hair. So you have to go back through and check this many times. Let's spin you around this way. 360, just head towards me please, gorgeous. Thank you. Diagonal back section. Doing a little bit more horizontal back here behind the ear, it feels a bit thicker. Again, that's why I say texture's a feeling, because you need to be able to feel it, because often I've found clients don't have the same amount of hair on each side of their head. So you can't just say, okay, I did 3 sections there, 3 sections there, and then it should match up. It doesn't always work that way. So it really is something you need to feel. All right. Let's see if we feel balanced with our texture. It certainly looks that way. No, needs more. This side is still a little bit thicker. good. Okay, let's drop this top section down. It's going to get the blow dryer and give it a little bit of a blast, just to loosen it back up because it's been tied up for a little bit. Look at that texture, it's amazing. These modern shapes are beautiful. It's all about classic silhouette with a modern interpretation. As I said already, for me, that's texture is what makes things more relevant than what they once were. Spin back in this way, Ruby. Now we're going to do all vertical sections. This texture, because the top, we don't want volume, we want it to collapse. So horizontal is all about building shape, vertical is about helping it collapse. And just going to do a little bit deeper. Bit of slicing. Make sure you don't re-texturize the section you've already textured. That's how you create holes. Last for this side. Put this all the way back to the middle like we would if we were layering it, back here, just to check, and that should be amazing. Yep. This side won't need as much texture because Ruby parts her hair on this side and there's less hair on this side of her head. So I've mentioned in other videos in terms of when we're shaping it around the face, sometimes we need to intentionally leave one side longer than the other to make it look balanced. It's the same with texture. If we over texturize this side because you've only got that much on this side and you have that much here, if you texturize this side the same as here, you're going to end up with a big imbalance because from the start there's already double the amount of hair on the right hand side just because of where we've parted it. Super cool. See now it's just all broken up. It's nice and beachy and fun. Lots of texture. Makes it modern. We can wear it curly, straight. But the thing you'll notice now is that the contrast in texture between the sides and the fringe is bothering me, so we're going to have to add a little bit more texture to the fringe. Do that, and then we're going to dry it off. How are we going to dry it today, Ruby? Would
It's
you
a
like
hard
to
choice.
dry it straight, or maybe we can make it beachy and curly?
Yeah, I reckon let's go
Let's
for
do
that.
that. Just close your eyes, darling, please. No one saw that coming. It's time to style Ruby's hair. It's been drying in front of me, so I'm just going to moisten it a little bit using the hydrosol spray. And this is great because when you're working with texture, it's actually almost like a leave-in treatment. So it's going to soften the hair a little bit. And then we're going to use Airy Builder. Sounds like Hairy Builder if you say it with an English accent. Airy Builder. I think it's funny. No one's been laughing at my dad jokes today, so I'm just going to quit while I'm here. So about this much. I don't often put it near the scalp. I just like to bring it through the ends, scrunch it in. Make sure you work it into the hairline. It tends to go a little bit fluffy around the hairline, so I like to put in there, underneath as well. Don't just go plonk on the top. Make sure that we're putting it through nice and evenly, a little bit in the bangs. I'm going to show you guys something about the bangs or the fringe that you may not have noticed, but the way we've cut it is so that it can be worn to the side and in front. Ruby did say she might like to grow a fringe out, but I just knew how good it was going to look on her face with hair this length. So she can actually wear it in front as well, and it'll actually separate and it'll look super cool and beachy. And you can see it just sits right on the cheekbone there. Amazing. And then as she wants to grow it out, she can wear it to the side as well. I'm just going to use a diffuser, and we'll see how this dries. Again, when you're diffusing hair, keep the fan speed on low, heat on medium, not too high. You want to dry it slowly. Ideally, I would allow this to dry naturally. I'm not a big fan of force drying natural texture hair or curly hair. It's very, very hard to control, but for obviously video purposes, I'm going to use the diffuser, which just sits on the end. Fan on low, heat on medium. Shape in the back. Looks pretty cool. Let's look at the other side. Look at that. So it's what identifying the face shape's about. Like we're wanting to bring attention to here because it's so beautiful. Chin, cheek, eye. So you've got the fringe coming past for the eyes. This pulled back to accentuate the cheekbone, and then it sits right in the chin. Brings your attention to all the best parts on Ruby's face. Not that there's anything bad on it, but and I love how the bangs sit sort of like beachy. So I think it was important at the last minute that not only did I change the length, but we actually put texture into the fringe to make sure that it works with everything else. We're done.
Hey.
What do you reckon?
I actually really love it. I've never gone this length, and you've done really well. The curls, I just love it.
It's one of those things that you could have had your hair so many different ways, but I think this is actually really relevant and it's very modern. I think it's on trend. I love the way your bangs sit. You could blow dry this straight if you wanted to, or you could wear it smoother.
Yeah.
But I don't know why you would. I mean,
it's very cool.
you can get up in the morning and use the Airy Builder with some of the By Large Hydrosource tonic, just so that it makes it supple, the Airy Builder will support it. You can literally, with heater on in the house, your hair will dry by itself. Like you'd be literally making your breakfast and just scrunching your hair like this, and it's styling all by itself.
That's good because I'm lazy with my hair sometimes.
I don't think it's lazy. I think that modern women are busy, and that, I mean, who has time 20 minutes in the morning to, no one does. I mean, we all work so late, we all got so much on, you want to get every minute sleep you can.
Yeah.
So 20 minutes sleep is better than 20 minutes styling your hair, and I don't think that's lazy, I think that's life. So thanks for trusting me, you look amazing. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you like this. Many of you have asked about, Adam, you're not doing curly hair, you're only working with this type of hair. So I hope in these series of videos you're seeing that the work is diverse, and we're trying to do something different and trying to share new techniques with you so you can grow and learn. And for those of you who are watching for entertainment, hope you enjoyed watching this. This is very different to watch compared to the last few videos. You know, a lot of the stuff I do is working with clippers, short hair on ladies. So although this is in the short sort of genre, it's about working with texture and keeping it soft and supple and natural, no styling, no drying if you don't want to. Seriously, a heater will dry your hair off, no problem. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Please subscribe to the channel and share this video if you can. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram because I've got like 120,000 on YouTube and like 30,000 on Instagram. So what is doing there? Follow me, please. And Ruby, you want to shout out Instagram?
Oh, mine's really weird. So it's Rhubarb, but it's RHU with a dot and then ARB.
Okay, well, we better have that scroll along here. So we'll get Ricky onto that. Make sure he puts it at the bottom of the video. But until next time, from Joe Scandizzo Academy here in Melbourne, it's thank you and see you soon.